Our next award is the Nida M. Landrum Award, and it's presented each year to someone who contributed volunteer service, both to the Alumni Association as well as the university. This year, this award goes to Larry Dreiling, Senior Field Editor for the High Plains Journal, headquartered in Dodge City. Larry, would you please make your way up to the podium? Larry Dreiling earned 2 Bachelor of Arts degrees at Fort Hays in 1980, one in political science and the other in communication. He added a Master of Science in Communication in 1985. Larry has been also an active community volunteer. He is a past president and 2-time Paul Harris Fellow of the Hays Rotary Club, also serving as Rotary District 5670 Public Image Chair. He's a member of the Hays Area Chamber of Commerce and the Kansas Cavalry. Larry served 2 4-year terms on the Alumni Association Board of Directors and was Communications Director for the Boot Hill chapter. He was a member of the Athletic Association Advisory Board and is an alumni representative on the Tiger Auction Planning Committee. He has been a member of the Tiger Athletic Club since 2001 and is an advocate for Fort Hays Legislative Support Network. Now, this next segment I found very interesting, and I quote, "Larry was a Victor E. Tiger before there was a Victor E. Tiger." And when I read that, I read it twice, and then went on to read he was the Tiger mascot when he was a student, and then went on to earn money to help pay for the new Victor E. Tiger mascot suit. Please welcome and congratulate Larry Dreiling.
Well, thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Dr. Hammond. And thank you, Deborah, and the entire board of the Fort Hays State University Alumni Association for this award. Yes, I served 8 years on the board of the Alumni Association and served 5 years on the Awards and Recognition Committee. And so I know every May when those awards come out, how difficult a stack of paper, that award selection comes to a head. And you had a big choice there, Deborah, and staff and committee, and I know how hard this was, and thank you. This is quite an honor. I'm truly humbled. And Deborah, thank you for putting up with me the last few weeks as this whole thing, I'm the only local pretty much in this award ceremony thing tonight, and so I was constantly giving Deborah fits, and you've just been great, Deborah and staff, for this whole weekend. And I got to give you a hand. I really do. Staff, thank you. I want to congratulate the other members of our wonderful class of honorees for your achievements. I have to single out a longtime hero of mine, Lyle Staub. Lyle's a former student body president at Fort Hays State. He was a senior when I was a freshman on Student Senate. Lyle led a special committee that reformed the Student Government Association Constitution. The changes the committee placed on the rest of us to vote on were quite controversial at the time, such as the elimination of class presidents. He took a lot of personal heat, and I mean people took out ads against this man and the leader for wanting these changes. I mean, they got nasty and personal. But those changes moved student government from a popularity contest to making significant improvements in the way students could work with administrators, the legislature, the regents, and just getting things done in this world. And you're a game changer, sir. You are a game changer, pal. And I just want to say, Lyle Staub, you've always been one of my heroes. And what you and that committee did should never be forgotten. I mean that with all my heart. Some people consider Fort Hays State a place of higher learning. But as you can see, when I can talk to a Lyle Staub or any of us in this room, we're really about a family here. And now, no matter how far this family has been flung, in all the different ways that Dr. Hammond has developed, through not just on campus, but in the virtual college and in our China programs, it's all about the people. And in my last 35 years since I set foot on this campus as a student, it's been about my immediate family, and as my late mom, Dorothea, once put it, my second family, the family of Fort Hays State. Mom was a Fort Hays Stater, most dear to me, and I lost my mom to a rare form of cancer 6 years ago, and I know that she's looking down from heaven tonight, shaking her head, giving me a ugh, and saying, Big Larry, move along. Your father's about ready to say, stop preaching a sermon. Ma was real practical on that, and I'm sure that she'd be tickled with the festivities tonight, and I miss her not being with me as I accept your honor. I do want to introduce my guests for this evening. First of all, my dad, my favorite Fort Hays Stater, Al Dreiling, who taught me the meaning of doing good in the world when he told me, Larry, you come into this world bare-ass naked, you leave it the same way on a slab. What you do with your life between those times matters. And I've taken that advice and I've tried to make it his legacy by giving him a kid who grew up to repay the generosity given him. Thanks, pal. I appreciate the generosity you've given me. Also with me is my nephew, Paul Dreiling Ayala, a fourth-generation Tiger graduate. My sister, Donna Ayala, my oldest nephew, Mike Hofer, and my great friend, my nominator for this award, Fort Hays State's creative director, Mary Ridgway. Mary, more on you in a minute. Also with me tonight are a bunch of great people who have been a part of my life over the years. First up, an old buddy from the Hays neighborhood, John Alden Smith. Next, my employer, High Plains Journal. They have given me the most incredible opportunities to travel the world, interview presidents, princesses, to travel to 25 foreign countries. And I say, people say to me, where did you go to school? And I said, I didn't go to some fancy agricultural college. I went to Fort Hays State, where I learned it under some great people. And Jeff Keaton, his wife Janet are here, our circulation manager and his wife. Thank you, Jeff, for representing the High Plains Journal family. Thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot. Together, we've taken our readers to places neither of us would have ever imagined. It's just so cool you're here. Next, my buddy from graduate school. Technically, he was an undergrad when I met him, but we are fast friends, pals to this day. In his days here, he was the editor of the University Leader, and he himself was the winner of a National Student Award of Investigative Journalism for his reporting on substandard housing for athletes here on our campus. And he reformed the way student athletes are taken care of here. He's now the editorial page editor of the Colorado Springs Gazette. Wayne Lageson and his wife, Dee Dee. Wayne, your friendship means so much. Thank you for being here. And finally, I was going to introduce someone who is so dear to all of us in the Fort Hays State family. Her late husband, Jack Heather, founded the radio, television, film department, was guide, teacher, counselor, friend to so many of us, and she was his constant companion for so many of us. Peggy Heather was going to be with us tonight, but Peggy came down with some bronchitis and is unable to join us. Please offer a little prayer to Peggy tonight and hope that she's doing great, man, great, and real soon. We know that joke. Only Jack's kids understand that joke. I've seen so many other wonderful people here who have been a part of this wonderful ride of life that began when I set foot on this campus back in 1976, and it's great to see all of you. And I need to point out I am a third-generation Tiger. My grandmother, Edna Blakely, earned her life certificate. Her sister, Nellie Schutz, earned a bachelor's degree from Hays Normal and Fort Hays, Kansas State College way back in their day, likely close to 100 years ago. Mom and Dad attended FHKSC back in the late 30s and early 40s, and they told me of professors like Bill Moreland in my dad's major, political science, Mary May Paul in my mother's education major, and Edna Triplett, who taught both of them English. And they had classmates like Teddy Tedesco, who had a daughter, Nola, who's now retiring as DA in Wichita. Mickey Spillane and John Wolk, and was in that bunch too. They enjoyed their time here. And as for me, I really wasn't counting on attending Fort Hays State. As a kid from the Denver suburbs, I was planning on attending the University of Colorado until Dad hauled me out here during the spring break of my junior year for a campus visit. And I got to meet another classmate there, a guy by the name of Jerry Tamanik. And I got to meet Jack Heather and Don Slechta, Dr. Moreland's successor as the chair of the political science department. And I walked around the crowd and, well, I fell in love with this place. Don, as well as Jack's chair, the late Jim Costigan, set it up so I could have a double major in political science and communication. This small enough to appreciate and big enough to accommodate attitude, along with the fact that I could pare tuition down to 1/4 of the cost of CU in just 1 year of residency, made the choice of moving to the plains of western Kansas and dear old Fort Hays State an easy one. My parents were planning on taking an early retirement and moving back to either Waukene or Hays, so the whole process was very smooth. And of course, besides the aforementioned faculty, I had other great teachers here. In political science, Dick Heil. Hi, Jerry. There you are. Okay. The guy we called the coach, Ken Oldfield, and Pat Dreiling. Over in Malloy Hall, Jack's right-hand man, Dave LaFergie, gave us top-notch training in TV production, live and without a net. Our engineer, Bud Baxter, kept us from screwing up things too much, right, Mark? Yeah, I guess you can say I was a student of convergence journalism when that term really didn't exist. Dave Adams, our wild and crazy advisor to the leader and late lamented Reveille, bring it back, student government, was, along with sidekick Jeannie Lambert, two of the best all-around teachers I ever had. When Dave Adams left for Parts East, Harold Peterson filled Dave's shoes with his own unique style, and they taught me to dig deep and write well, and I'll always appreciate it, and they've all gone to their reward, and I miss them dearly tonight. I also want to thank former instructor Cindy Danner-Kuhn, who gave me a lot of encouragement, and she guided me toward a National Collegiate Business Journalism Award while I was here. She was a wonderful advisor to the Reveille. And along with this amazing core group of teachers, there were people like administrators Dr. Bill Jellison and Harold Eichhoff, Dorothy Knoll, Herbie Songer, Jim Kellerman. In English, I miss Bob Maxwell, who we lost earlier this year. But I had other profs like Paul Gatchett, Nancy Vogel, Cliff Edwards, Pam Schaefer, and Al Garretts, who offered constant hands with my writing skills. John McGaw, Gary Brower, who gave me a real first taste of agricultural reporting. Fantastic. John Clear, Robert Lures made Halloween history come alive. Gary Hewlett and Gene Fleehardy, you guys were the finest tag team ever, but it came to grappling with the great question, can man survive? Rose Arnold and Jerry Cox gave me wonderful experiences in sociology. Irv Eltsey made the Apple II computer come alive for me. I'm Apple to the core to this day. Joan Rumpel, to her credit, tried her darndest to teach me accounting. Jack McCulloch, Dan Rupp, and Bill Rickman helped me suffer through economics without my eyes glazing over. I was so blessed to be a part of this place as a student and feel so much a part of this place today as people like my pal from Radio Days, Mark Bannister, leads our College of Business, and the gang in Media Studies have now given me a seat on the Informatics Department Board of Advisors. Thanks, Flash. Thank you so much for continuing to let me be a part of this wonderful bunch that wants to help the department that leads so much of the Fighting Tiger Nation for being forward-thinking and world-ready. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. You're letting me be a part of this. The team in political science, especially Larry Gould, Shayla Mills, Chap Rackaway, Josephine Squires, have continued to welcome me back home. And through their efforts, I've become a policy fellow in the university's think tank, the Docking Institute of Public Affairs, where I've become a part of the university's public affairs program and efforts on the hosted the Kansas Legislature show. And it's an honor to work with such talented people in poli-sci, and Larry, it's still great to work with you. I'm proud that I've been able to keep my bonds of Tiger family going long after I've graduated, and hope the love lasts forever as informatics' new home rises up in the next few years. And yes, finally, Tiger athletics is something that has been always dear to me, mainly because I was such a lousy athlete. And I admired the hard work of our student athletes, going all the way back to Skip Numerick and great Mark Wilson and Max Hamlin. I was happy to serve 2 different terms on our athletic corporation board, and yes, I was the Tiger mascot. And so for athletic purposes, I had to stay eligible, so I was an athlete too. I tried out on a dare from the KFHS radio announcing staff, saying that tryouts were open, and I was getting ready to do a campus newscast. And they said, hey, Larry'd be a great mascot. So under a current of support from the gang in Malloy Hall, I tried out, and damned if I didn't get the job. I had fun as the mascot. I worked part-time at KAYS on Saturdays. I wish Bob Schmidt and Pat were here, but I saw them come and go, and it's great to see them. And so when there were night games, I'd take off right after work at 5 o'clock, drive over to Lewis Field, where I changed into the parking lot into the Tiger, and then did my bit to increase the spirit of our games. And yes, I see Bob Lowen here, and he did his part for many years too. Thank you, Bob. I can remember getting pictures with little kids, and I can remember how I made one little boy cry every time I walked up to him. And this is the fun part. This is a real ironic part, Dr. Hammond. You'll know this kid. 20 years later, that kid made opposing running backs cry. He was Brandon Pishney, who grew into one fierce Fighting Tiger linebacker. That's my favorite mascot story. I always throw it at Brandon when I see him. And not only did I mascot wrestling, track, volleyball, gymnastics, and of course basketball, I got to be fast friends with a core bunch of guys who later went on to win the NAIA District 10 title in 1981. I was reporting for KAYS by that time, but it was great to share that. And as the years went on, I've watched a lot of mascots come and go. And I kept telling our athletic directors that if ever this school stopped developing a new mascot logo every time there was a coaching change or a new marketing idea, I'd pay for a decent mascot outfit. Well, enter my dear friend Mary Ridgway. As our university's graphic designer, she came up with the current Victory Tiger mascot that has since 2000 become basically the synonym for Fort Hays State. The running joke is that she and I have a son together, and his name is Victory Tiger. Through Mary's wonderful design efforts, she gave birth to him, and like any good dad, I pay the bills for the kid. So Mary was my nominator on this award. Thank you, dear, for nominating me. I'm so happy to share this night with you because you gave us the symbol of a fighting spirit, a joy of learning, and just plain fun that we are so proud of. Thanks for being mom to Victory Tiger. So as a treat for Mary, Dr. Hammond, and all you fighting tigers out there, please welcome my great kid, Victor E. Tiger. My kid. Okay, one time, real quick. T-I-G-E-R-S. Go Tigers! One more time. T-I-G-E-R-S. Go Tigers! Thank you again for this wonderful award. God love you, and go Tigers!
Once I saw that the committee was serious about giving Larry the award, I was dreading this night the whole... For 6 months now. And Mary, I know she and I talked about, she said, "Can I take it back?" I said, "No, it's too late." No, she didn't. Congratulations, and to both Jesse and to Larry. They have been part of our tradition and lore of this campus for different reasons for many, many years.